Thank you for choosing the Technology Integration Information Management Network. Welcome to part 3 of the Critical Path series. Today we are going to cover the following topics: network diagram within Microsoft Project, utilizing critical path within Microsoft Project, identifying float within Microsoft Project, resource constraints, resource leveling definitions, utilizing resource leveling techniques within Microsoft Project, schedule compression techniques, and other concepts. Now let's get started. I would like to start this lesson with the same example that we have been working with during the previous sessions. Within part 1, we identified the critical path. In part 2, we utilize this example to calculate forward and backward paths. Within part 3, we will utilize this example to present the topics as addressed within slide 2. Let's now build the framework of our initial example onto MS Project. When selecting Network Diagram View, Microsoft Project automatically generates a network diagram similar to the one created within parts 1 and 2. Within MS Project, if you select View and then Critical, it highlights the critical path. It can also be compared to what was calculated as a result of part 1. Select Add New Column and start Slack. MS Project automatically calculates float as we performed manually in part 2. Let's now examine the resource sheet view. Within this example, I have assigned the same resources in parallel for multiple tasks. This takes us to the term resource constraint. These are highlighted by the maroon icons within the information column. The definition of resource constraint is having a resource or input limitation within task assignments that negatively impact the task or project completion within the time allotted. Within Microsoft Project, right-click on the resource constraint icon, select Fix in Task Inspector, then select View Overlocated Resources within Team Planner. The following view will display. Within the Task Inspector, a visual of the resource that is overlocated will be presented within maroon brackets. For the remainder of this presentation, we will go over methods that resolve resource constraints. I now would like to go over the concept of resource leveling. The concept of resource leveling involves the planning of resource utilization at an optimal level based on scope versus resource availability. To access this feature within Microsoft Project, one will select Resource. This will bring up the resource leveling component within Microsoft Project. For this instance, we will select Leveling can adjust individual assignments on a task, Leveling can create splits in remaining work, and level resource with the proposed booking type. These settings bring out the following effects: resource constraint resolution and extension of the finish date. Such change modification should either be made during the initial planning phase before the scheduling baseline is established or after project change procedure is administered. If deadline extension is not available, then one may select level only with available slack. However, please note, it will not eliminate resource constraints, and in some instances, it may present larger and greater constraints. For the remainder of this presentation, I would like to focus on schedule compression techniques. We are going to first start with the topic of resource crashing. Resource crashing is a schedule compression technique that enables work to be within a compressed duration. This is performed by adding additional resources within a task, which may result in maintaining or decreasing its duration. Let's take a look at both the benefits and impact. Benefits is a way to plan for a task to occur within an allotted duration while eliminating the resource constraints. Applying this technique to areas on the critical path may maintain or in some instances reduce the project completion date when properly applied. Impact. This compression technique may add additional project-related costs. Not all resource constraints can be resolved by adding additional labor resources. Eventually, there becomes a point where adding more resources will have a negative or neutral impact on the timeline. For this presentation, we will revisit the overlocation view in association with slide 14. Below is an image with the same tasks and workflow employing the crash schedule compression technique. As one can see, we have added 2 design, 2 architect, and 1 development resource. Above is another look of the Gantt view with the employment of the crash schedule compression technique. Please note the elimination of the constraint icons. Fast tracking is a schedule compression technique where work is performed at least partially in parallel. The benefits. Applying this technique to areas on the critical path can help maintain or in some instances reduce the project completion date when performed properly. Impact. This presents an increased risk to quality. Here is an example of fast tracking as we pull in activity G. This concludes both Part 3 and the Technology Integration Information Management Network Critical Path series. Thank you for watching, and please do not forget to hit the subscribe button.